and the All Indiana Podcast Network. This is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update.
Good Thursday morning to you. I am Jeremy Jenkins, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 Podcast for July 17th. We begin on Indy's far south side, where police say a man is dead after a shooting outside of a bar. It happened around 1:35 this morning. Officers were called to the Mucky Duck Pub on Southport Crossings Way. Police tell us that the man died at Eskenazi Hospital about 30 minutes later. An officer on scene says it doesn't appear that the man who was shot was initially involved in an accident that may have led to the gunfire.
The only thing that we know right now is there's some kind of disturbance going on, supposedly something between a female and another male, and then our victim became involved in it, and that's all we've gotten so far.
Police say that they questioned several people at that bar. If you were one of the people there and left before officers arrived, investigators say you should give them any information that you have. Well, the City County Council has advanced a measure that extends the curfew for young people in Indianapolis by about 2 hours. Last night, the Council's Public Safety and Criminal Justice Committee voted to send the proposal to the full council. That curfew extension plan stems from that deadly mass shooting that took place downtown on July 5th. As we reported on Wish TV, 2 young people died that night. The police chief praised the move, but the head of the police officers union has consistently blasted that plan since it was initially proposed.
That's what I see happening here tonight is action on the part of this council, and although the things that we do may not be perfect, they may be challenged in the future, doing nothing is unacceptable.
Everything that happened here tonight isn't going to change anything. It's not bringing back any of these dead children, and it's not going to do anything this weekend.
The full council is set to vote on the curfew extension at its next meeting, which will take place on August 14th. Governor Mike Braun says if that gun violence in the city doesn't slow down, the state may have to step in. Braun is calling for tougher enforcement on violent crime, which Marion County prosecutors say is already happening. ITMate's Tim Spears reports.
Governor Braun said state police will help take every additional precaution available to ensure the WNBA All-Star Game weekend remains safe. But looking towards the future, he wants to see a crackdown from local law enforcement in Indianapolis, specifically from the Marion County Prosecutor's Office.
Indianapolis's own justice system is not doing the job. I think the police department is, but the rest of the equation is not being carried out.
Following the mass shooting on Independence Day weekend, Governor Mike Braun warned of state intervention to address violent crime in Indianapolis.
If they keep having that dereliction of responsibility and duty, and it would force the state and the legislature, my involvement as well, this is just the clarion call that do something different.
IMPD already said Indiana State Police would help increase the police presence downtown. Governor Braun, surrounded by ISP leaders, echoed calls from the Fraternal Order of Police, asking Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears to seek stronger enforcement of violent crime. Though, when asked, he did not cite any cases where prosecutors failed to enforce the law.
Broadly, I think the prosecutor has not taken up cases that the police bring to them.
Do you have faith in Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears?
I do. He's shown that he can be tough on violent crimes in the past.
Indianapolis City County Council member Ron Gibson believes it will take more than stricter enforcement.
There's a social economic element here. We're dealing with young folks that may not have the guidance or discipline at home.
The prosecutor's office tells News 8 it's working with IMPD to potentially seek stricter enforcement of neglect charges for parents of juvenile offenders as a way to curb youth violence. Governor Braun hinted at possible legislation for the state to increase oversight of county prosecutors.
Just start doing something differently from what you've been doing. That's not been working.
No one has been charged for shooting the 2 teenagers who died or the 5 others who were injured in that downtown mass shooting. Reporting from the State House, Tim Spears for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
In other news, the jury trial for former Colts player Daniel Muir and his wife Kristen is canceled. Online court records showed that a new judge is taking over that case. A status hearing will take place in 1 this afternoon. According to court records, the state Supreme Court transferred the case to the special judge in the Cass Circuit Court. Police arrested the couple about a year ago after their son went missing for several days. Police issued a silver alert and later raided the Muir's home and found their son inside. Police say his father had physically abused him. The Muir's jury trial was supposed to start on August 1st. A new date has not been set. On Capitol Hill, the Senate has passed a bill to get back $9 billion in spending that Congress had already approved. The cuts were requested by President Trump and include reductions in funding for public broadcasting and foreign aid. Democrats worked to remove most of the cuts from the rescission bill. Amendment votes lasted about 12 hours, but the Senate finally approved the measure on a 51-48 vote. The bill now goes back to the House and on tight deadline. They must pass the bill and send it to the president's desk no later than tomorrow. Another series of protests against Trump administration policies will take place in Indiana and across the country today. The coalition behind last month's No Kings protest is putting on demonstrations they're calling Good Trouble Lives On. It takes the phrase made popular by the late congressman and civil rights activist John Lewis, who died 5 years ago today. The coalition's website shows at least 25 demonstrations are set to happen, including one here at the State House taking place at noon. Let's talk sports. We are still working to learn what role Caitlin Clark will play in this weekend's WNBA All-Star Weekend at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Clark sat out during last night's game in New York due to the right groin injury she suffered in Tuesday's game. One highlight, though, was Kelsey Mitchell. Her three in the first quarter gave her 607 three-pointers for her career. She surpassed Fever favorite Tamika Catchings for the franchise record. Ultimately, though, the Fever fell to the Liberty 98-77. When it comes to the weather, Storm Track 8 says we are in for another hot and humid day, but this time, some pop-up showers, too. Meteorologist Marcus Bailey has your News 8 Daily 8 forecast.
Downpours knocking on the door of Bloomington and the campus of Indiana University. Everything moving east. You almost have some downpours now entering into western Braun County. So we'll watch this. That cluster in itself likely stays south of Indianapolis. But from now through at least noon, we could have some spotty downpours from time to time. 71, mostly cloudy, muggy, pretty still, not much of a breeze out of the west at around 6 miles per hour. Everybody into the 70s here for this morning, including Shelbyville at 70, Richmond at 70, Greencastle at 70, Kokomo at 71, and 72 right now in Terre Haute and Bloomington. Warm spot is in Muncie at 73. Everything riding along this cold front, and this is going to be a player not just for today, but really throughout the weekend, as this boundary will just stall out and kind of fluctuate across the Midwest over the coming days. You can see a decent amount of shower and thunderstorm activity, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, parts of Nebraska. That will head east. Rain chances at any part of the day today. Yes, we do have another round of severe weather potential after lunchtime through around or just after dinner time, but the focus for that severe weather is likely going to be in the southern third of the state, where we could have some damaging straight line winds, just like yesterday. 80 at noon. We'll go with a high of 86 later on today. And again, watch for some rain chances for that evening drive and some heavy downpours. Got to talk about more rain chances, not just for Friday, but unfortunately for this very busy weekend, we might have some heavy rain potential. We'll walk you through the details in my Storm Track 8 forecast in just a few minutes.
To get a peek at Marcus Bailey's full forecast, just head over to wishtv.com, or you can download the Wish TV Storm Track 8 app. And don't forget to check out our Storm Track 8 weather blogs. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 podcast for Thursday, July 17th. I'm Jeremy Jenkins for Wish TV and wishtv.com.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast, a Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.